This is a self-leveling black gold flute pad. What makes this pad special is that it tilts within the cup and aligns itself perfectly with the tonehole rim. There's a pin in the back of the pad with a ball joint. The ball joint has just the perfect amount of tension. It allows the pad to tilt and align itself with a tonehole. Then once it's aligned, it stays that way. To install this pad, the first thing to do is to clean out any loose solder or debris from the hole in the spud. You need a drill bit that's 59 thousandths of an inch in diameter. This is a JS Pure Gold flute pad. The gold pads are extremely flat, so to get a good seal, use a JS diamond tonehole file to level the top of the tonehole rim. Choose a pad that's about 12 thousandths of an inch or 0.3 millimeters smaller than the inside diameter of the cup. Then you have to set the protrusion. You want the pad to protrude about 12 thousandths of an inch, or about 0.3 millimeter from the rim of the cup. All flutes are set up differently. You want the pad to protrude evenly front to back when it's closed against the tonehole. If there's too much protrusion, you must shorten the pin on the back side. To shorten the pin, you need to make a simple tool. This is a piece of sheet metal, 1/32 of an inch thick. Drill a hole in it with the same drill bit that you used to clean out the spud. Put the sheet metal over the pin and use a small file. File it down a little bit, temporarily install it back into the cup, and check the protrusion. You can keep track of the pin length by measuring the overall dimension of the pad. If you file down the pin a little too far, use a razor blade and cut a tiny sliver off the end of some 1/32 inch diameter solder, then drop it into the hole. Once the protrusion is correct, you've got to select a stabilizer. Use a thin, soft felt stabilizer because you don't have to glue it, and it's quieter. It's very important to use just the right amount of Loctite, or the ball joint will clog up and the pad won't tilt. The only way to do it is to add Loctite to the spud hole, then use a piece of 46 thousandths diameter wire. Place it in the spud hole. Use a Q-tip, clean up all the excess off the top. Remove the wire. That's just the right amount of Loctite. Carefully insert the pin into the spud hole. If you want the Loctite to harden quickly, you can warm it up, but not too much, not hotter than you can hold. Wait a minute or two and you're done. If the pad's too tight in the cup, spin it to find a loose spot. If you're having trouble getting the pad centered in the cup, or if it ends up having a tight spot, you can try an alternate method. Make a shim out of approximately 4 thousandths of an inch thick brass sheet metal. Place the shim in the cup and tilt the pad into place. Pressing down the shim so the pad is centered. When you get this right, do it again with the Loctite. Then, when the Loctite is dry, tilt the pad and pull the shim back out. This technique takes some skill. The pad will level itself with the tonehole the first time it's closed. Then it will remain level after that. You can send me the dimensions I need to determine the pin length if you have a good set of visors, 3/64 diameter brass wire, a razor blade, and an accurate caliper. Place the wire in the middle of the spud. Hold a razor blade at a slightly downward angle so it's level with the top of the cup, and scratch a line in the wire. Then carefully measure the length of the end of the wire to the scratch mark. If there's less than 30/1000 of an inch between the cup rim and the top of the spud, then you must special order self-leveling pads with deep centers. To remove the pad, use a needle or a small screwdriver to lever out the pad. Use force. Use a small soldering iron with a pointed tip and melt out the plastic center. Use a small pliers, grab the end of the ball joint, and twist it to remove it from the spud. If you want to replace the screw, you'll have to clean out the dried Loctite with the same drill bit.